Hello, and welcome to another episode of Around the Verse, our weekly look at Star Citizen's ongoing development. I'm Sandy Gardner.
And I'm Steve Bender. Welcome back, Sandy. How was Gamescom last week?
Gamescom was pretty cool. I had a lot of fun. It was a great way to spend time with the backers, and it's always cool to see how enthusiastic they are. And plus, the booth looks amazing, and it was busy, very, very busy with lineups.
Well, we've got a great show lined up for today, including a feature that goes behind the scenes at Gamescom.
But first, it's time to check in with the dev team on our 3.0 progress. Let's see what bugs have been smashed and which new ones flared up in this week's Burn Down.
Burn Down!
Welcome back to Burn Down, our weekly show dedicated to reviewing progress on issues blocking the release of Star Citizen Alpha 3.0. Last week, we ended at 67 total must-fix issues that were prioritized as 7 blockers, 36 criticals, 20 highs, 4 moderates, and 0 trivials. So let's see how this week went.
So one of the things that most studios do, and we do here in Los Angeles, is we have triage weekly where we go through the bugs we've got in and we assess what their impact is, what their value for the fix is, and more importantly, what we can do and in what order we can accomplish things to support the long-term goals of 3.0.
Well, currently we have a sprint going for quantum travel experience and the turrets experience as well, which I believe I've mentioned before. We want to make sure that quantum travel and turrets are both to a level where, with the Item 2.0 implementation of these things, we want to make sure that they're properly reflecting how it is we want to have them in the game and where we envisage them going further in the future. So we have current sprints active for those at the moment to make sure that that is all working and tied together nicely. Similarly for the cockpit experience as well, that ranges from everything from GeForce reactions, hit reactions when you're being shot at, to the general interaction around in the cockpit itself.
A lot of things are almost completed in terms of the missions, but I'm getting to a stage where I'm blocked by a lot of issues. Okay. You know, I think missions are like 85% completed and ready for a review, but these extra couple of blockers would just push us over the line. And I've got prioritized Jira's out for that with Janine already.
The mission system is going to be under review with the directors in the coming days to see what the progress has been on the missions that we currently have, and get any feedback of how on the mission flow, various steps, how they play out, and any feedback that is then received from them, we'll have to evaluate that and come to an agreement with them on how much we're able to get done and how long that will take, and then from that we see how much work is remaining based on their feedback.
Then I thought I'd show a bug I've been working on for 3.0. It's about a week old. The bug is the airlocks need moving down slightly. Because since you're standing here as a player, you wouldn't be pressing, like the animations for pressing this panel wouldn't actually hit the panel itself. It would hit somewhere below here because you'd be standing on a much lower elevation. So the bug request is for the airlocks to be moved down or everything else to be moved up. So it's a pretty clear-cut case of one way or the other. You have to solve this problem of the elevation being different. So this is a classic case of where you could do it the right way, which then would be to move everything up, as you see here, or everything down, but where if you would do that, there would be so many implications of you accidentally causing other problems for other people, because you see in here, there's vaulting markup, there are loads of volumes, viz areas, there are loads of things going on. And if we see on the outside, there's the same, where there's like lots of assets, there's AI going around here, there are nav meshes, all kinds of things that you don't want to accidentally break for someone else, you know, to cause even more work. So that's a good case of where you have to sort of break the rules of what's conventionally good in game development and kind of go for the simpler option, which is you build a little stupid ramp so that the players don't stand down on the floor, they stand on the ramp and the animations play correctly. And funnily as that was, I mean, I solved that bug, and then it turns out that there was another existing bug, not to do with content or art in any way, exactly in this area where you sort of see, here's a video of this bug, where when the player goes here, you see they start they start freaking out. Hear that there's clearly something happening here, like that there's bouncing, something physical just in this area is sort of happening and affecting the player. And this bug was then passed around to programming. It was the talk of network issues maybe being the cause. It was very localized, like no one could figure out exactly why is it happening here. And then this submit goes in, and voila, and resolves both bugs somehow. So it's a good case of a happy accident in game development.
So what I'm working on is we had a metrics update for the shopkeep counter, and the shopkeep counter is going to be used everywhere. That can be used for selling clothes. It can be used for selling plants or weapons, things like that. So there's going to be a lot of common use. So we want to make sure that that the performances and the metrics are matching. What we're going to do is we've decided that we want to take the standing touchscreen for the counter, and we're going to scoot that forward a little bit so that there's room for the performances so they can lean on the counters but they can also type. So there's like a nice compromise between the two. It'll be a new metric, and it'll be different than the standalone standing console, which we already have established. So this will be another version that just works better with the shopkeep.
We're burning down bugs left and right. Just recently, we ran into an issue with Miles Eckhart, one of the mission givers that we're going to have in 3.0. Miles Eckhart was instead of sitting at the bar or the table like he was supposed to, we found him curled up in the fetal position in the corner. So for some reason he'd had too much to drink, I guess, that day or something, because he was not where he was supposed to be. So that was a fun one to kind of debug and try to figure out. Required a lot of back and forth between Rob Reiniger, lead designer here, Francesco, our lead AI programmer in Frankfurt, some of the networking guys. Like it's a lot of the issues that we're running into are having to coordinate a lot with people from all over the company in order to solve, because it's not just a simple design issue or a simple art issue. It's a kind of a combination thereof. There's rarely a feature that is developed solely in one place or on one team, so it requires a lot of coordination between teams for sure.
The burn down rate's not always high, but that's just kind of indicative of game development. The more we tend to resolve, the more we tend to uncover new issues. So the bugs created always rises. But that's not necessarily a bad thing, because at the same time, when we're fixing up issues, we're able to get the polish done, fix the bugs, and then watch the burn rate increase.
Where are we at now? We're getting closer. Obviously, with software and with games development, it's really hard to tell where you are exactly at, because the things that really can get you in the hamstrings are the unknown bugs and the crashes with low reproducibility. All the bugs that we fix with the mission giving and with being able to go down to a procedural planet and pick up the boxes and be able to complete those missions is directly going to impact 3.0 and reduces the workload that we now have to do to be able to release 3.0 to you guys, our backers. It's not a direct sprint. It's, we've got to go around the circuit to get there, but we can see it now, and it's being able to realize it. There will be bugs before we get there. How big they are, yet to be determined, but we are there. We can see it, and it's now just being able to focus in and hone into that release so that you guys can play 3.0.
So at the time of filming this, we've added 27 to our must-fix list and checked in 768 updates to our 3.0 branch this week. That means we're at 94 issues, stopping the release to our first round of non-CIG testers. As Gamescom occurred this week, we had the unique opportunity for what ended up being over 2,000 attendees playing our planetary experience, which, as you know, houses a lot of the new changes coming with SC Alpha 3.0. Now, this did end up increasing the influx of must-fix issues for the better, as it helped us find some issues that may not have occurred until after our first release. So, as the goal every week is to burn down, we're going to keep working to push that number downward as fast as possible. So come back next week to keep up to date on Burn Down.
Remember, Burn Down isn't the only way for you to follow our work on 3.0. You can also check out the production schedule on our website. We update it every week with further details on various bugs and blockers affecting 3.0.
As we mentioned earlier, the Star Citizen team spent last week at Gamescom. We streamed live from the show floor, let people play a part of our 3.0 build, and revealed an exciting new partnership with Faceware Technologies at our annual Gamescom presentation.
But that's just the stuff you saw. A ton of work went on behind the scenes to get everything ready for the show floor, as well as Friday's event. Let's take a look.
I am here at the show floor booth at Gamescom 2017.
We were doing press demos on Wednesday and Thursday, which we had about 6 people on instead of the 12 we had for the big one. And so that's a little bit of the times where we're working through some of the kinks, although, you know, some of the crashes of, you know, sometimes we had them, sometimes we didn't.
Every new build comes with like new little bugs here and there, so we get the latest build, and usually QA did a good job like to pre-screen the build, but sometimes we run into an issue and then we try to like fix it on site as soon as we can.
We have an important announcement to make. DJ Knight is falling perilously to his death. We don't know how long it's going to take for him to land on the ground, but his options don't look good.
We are here at the Star Citizen booth from the Gamescom show floor, and it is packed.
There's so many people around here. People queuing down there, and yeah, and they can play 3.0.
Every day on the floor, you know, we found issues. What people were playing was live. It was raw, right? First day, Tuesday, people playing, we found bugs. Those went back, we calculated them. Wednesday morning, new build. So I'm there helping with the IT and everything else, coordinate, let's push the builds, let's get going.
And then I will try atmospheric re-entry, because that's the stuff that we all are waiting for.
Yes. The graphic details are just awesome.
I think my experience was very great. I can fly around the planet. I experienced like 2 ships that I never experienced before.
So once we knew what we wanted to do, being a designer, I was first working on setting up a lot of the AI in Lesky. And then after that, basically got pulled into practicing the flow with the 6 people that were actually available in Frankfurt.
We need to send an audio feed via headphones so the gamers, the players of the demo can hear their own sound, but also send it via HDMI to the AV guys, which then pass it to the PA system, which is for the live mix of when people are watching it at the Glory Theatre, but then also isolating each element of that so I can send a different mix to the stream.
Yeah, I hope things don't crash. Sometimes they do. And then you got to try to decide what the best way to recover from that. But no, I'm not generally nervous at all. It's more just you've got all this adrenaline, getting it all together, and then bam, go through the presentation, and it's done.
What does it take to build a symphony? It takes a blueprint. 4 movements that will dictate key, tempo, and the arrangement of musical notes that will create harmonies. A feeling so powerful that it transcends words. It must be conveyed in another form. Introducing the new 600i from Origin. A symphony in motion.
And without further ado,
I am going to introduce the man who you've all been waiting for, Chris Roberts.
Good to see you guys tonight. Are we having fun? Yeah. We thought that perhaps we should just get straight in to a demo.
He just gave us a mission.
Wait, you're a guy?
Yeah, why not? I wanted to try something different. What do you think of my look?
Okay, so hold on, guys. So one thing that we're going to show here, and this is a feature that we've put into the game. It's not going to be in 3.0, but it will be soon afterwards. Two things. One, which is
Don't just stare at me.
VoIP,
That's a spirit.
and the other is what we call face over IP. Get far enough away from, and as you can see, the space landscaping is much better than it was in 2.6. You want to look down, we see the big crater, can you? Yeah. So you can, wow. Hey. So now we're heading to Daymar. So you can see Crusader actually off to the right as we head up on Daymar. Oh, that's a bug.
I'm actually stuck in the pilot seat now.
That's bigger than mic, so what?
Don't just go too far.
Can you kill everything?
Oh, John's machine crash, yeah. All right, sorry guys, the pilot's machine crashed, which is why I disappeared in the middle of the jump. I did warn you that it potentially had some crashes in there. That was not one crash that we had in our. We had a few other crashes in our various playthroughs, but not that particular one, unfortunately. All right, back in business.
That's a huge ship.
Adjusting landing position.
Hey, Melissa.
What?
Let me out. I want to get up to that thing.
Go on then. Just close the door on your way out.
Was I nervous? Yeah, absolutely. But at the same time, what I enjoy most about those shows when people come together and we can do these events, I take the time and I watch the audience's reaction when the show's playing, because that's what I vibe off of, right? And to see people get excited, to see their facial reaction, and to hear the noise when something happens that I know is going to be there right before, it's awesome. So I did have the time to relax a little bit with everyone, and it was a good time.
It was scary, honestly, but I had fun. Faceware guys are really awesome, and they showed me like some tips and tricks to make it look really good. And yeah, I just sat there in the mirror, like just practicing all the time, trying to get it to look right.
We wanted to show where 3.0 was up to, but we knew we wanted to show faceware and the face tracking because we'd gotten it to the point where we felt like we wanted to show it publicly. So we thought it'd be really great to sort of play in 3.0, but add on the element of the faceware and face tracking. And then, so that was kind of, then we're thinking, well, you know, what else? How can we end the demo on something big? And we've been working on the Idris for Squadron 42, and was making some great progress. And actually, Nathan Dearsley, who's our ship art director, has long been pitching. He says, why don't you just have an Idris land on a planet, and then we drive a rover into it at the end of a demo? And I'm like, okay, well, okay. So then we thought, well, that could be cool, but why don't we have 2 Idrises fight each other?
Time to light 'em up.
Slowly,
In the rear.
Slow.
As you can see, events like Gamescom are a tremendous amount of effort and coordination. We'd like to thank all the Star Citizen devs, streamers, and volunteers that help make it happen, because we couldn't have done it without you.
Well, that's all for today's show, but before we go, we just wanted to remind everyone there will be no monthly report for August. Now that Gamescom is over, things will go back to normal, and you can expect September's monthly report in a few weeks.
Thanks to our subscribers, as always, who pitch in a little extra each month to help make these shows. September's ship of the month will be the Drake Herald. So starting Friday, all you need to do is log into the game to try it out.
And thanks to all our backers for your support. Events like Gamescom really highlight the importance of our community, and we can't thank you enough for everything you've done to make this game a reality.
And until next week, we will see you around the verse.
Thank you for watching. So if you want to keep up with the latest and greatest in the Star Citizen and Squadron 42's development, please follow us on our social media channels. See you soon.